Today, we apparently don't have any sound on the intro, but this is CheckPoint. I wonder why we don't have sound on the intro.
I don't know. We could make some. Do. How does this CheckPoint intro go?
I don't know.
It's been like what? I think forever since I've heard it.
Yeah. Hey everybody, how's it going? Sorry, there's no sound on the thing.
That seems to be our fault somehow, but we don't know how.
I blame Windows.
I mean, they're probably the culprit. There was an update.
There was a Windows update recently.
Did we initiate it?
Yeah.
Probably Windows.
Probably Windows.
They really, really want to end the year just as they started it.
How did they start it?
I assume the same way, by switching all of our sound settings somehow.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not hearing the little bloop bloop from the notifier either. It appears that XSplit is just not playing sound at the moment.
XSplit wants it to be a quiet time.
Which is a shame. System sound is the thing. Anyway, mic is muffled low. Is that? The audio does seem quite okay. Well,
I mean, I can up the mic.
It's possible that just everything is totally not. Everything is poop.
So when we were playing Melody's Escape yesterday, I was in the middle of playing a song, and I remember Ian saying something about wanting to fix whatever, and I don't know if he did anything after that. He could have touched the board.
Oh.
He could have touched something on the computer settings, and I wouldn't have noticed.
Excellent. All right.
So it could be his fault.
So, okay, well, that's important that we've established whose fault it is.
I mean, I'm still betting on Windows. Windows is still safe
Windows with assistance from Ian.
But it also could have been Ian did a thing and then we forgot to turn it back, because that often happens between streams.
Is that better for levels? I think that might be a little bit. That should be a little higher for the volume of that thing. This should still be.
I mean, the music not playing. Probably Windows more than Ian.
Sounds much better. Okay, cool.
The sound of the mics, who knows?
So yeah, the microphone looks like the microphone level was turned down.
It's a bit louder. Still sounds bad quality, like a different mic. Huh.
What if I change it to better quality? This might change XSplit slightly. Does that change does that sound better? That sounds better. Yay. It had defaulted to radio quality.
What? Wait, why is that a quality setting?
I don't know.
Why is that
More importantly, why is it the default quality setting? Okay. So hey everybody, welcome to CheckPoint Plus, or ChillPoint Plus, the show where we adjust audio levels. That's the whole show. It's just audio level adjustments. How popular? I feel like that show actually might be moderately popular.
I mean, I think it might go up and down in waves.
Well played. Well played. All right. So today we're talking CheckPoint stuff. And for those of you who don't know, for whatever reason, CheckPoint has been offline for the last month or so. So we did our last episode, I think, at the very beginning of December or the end of November.
Yeah, I think we might have done one for the first week of December, maybe. And
that was for a combination of reasons. One being we had a lot of the way the holidays worked is that like today, for instance, is the day before New Year's.
Yep.
Then last Monday was the day before
Christmas
Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
You say Christmas Eve?
I did. I was hoping no one noticed, but yes, I did. Those were words that came out of my mouth. Yes.
The most Pokemon holiday.
Christmas Eve.
And so it happened to line up where a bunch of people, we wouldn't be able to do a bunch of the checkpoints anyway because people would be busy. Mm-hmm. And so also there's not a lot of news necessarily during the sort of December time. It's a lot of time when people are doing like year-end reviews or
teasers of announcements to come.
Yeah, or things where it's like, I played this really old video game to see how it is.
You gotta,
little like retrospective stuff.
When you run a website that's about gaming and all the current gaming news dries up, you gotta fill with something. You should try following sites that are very specific about their gaming and only follow like Nintendo news. They dry up sometimes
struggle
all the time and therefore need to fill in with other things.
Well, I like when sites are very specific like that. They start getting like farther. They start widening their. It's like, well, this is sort of related, semi related to that. This is kind of a Mario thing in the sense that it involves people who are Italian, or it involves plumbers, so you anyway, things get a little bit dry up a little bit, and so
except for that first week after we decided we didn't need to do an episode.
This week, this month in particular, this year in particular, there was a couple of pieces of news that were kind of interesting that happened after we went off the air, of course, such is the way of things. But anyway, let's today we're gonna just do the chill thing. And if you haven't seen this show before, normally CheckPoint, we write and record the episode of CheckPoint where Graham and Kathleen or sometimes other people will meet earlier in the day and we'll write out a bunch of stories and try to make sure we have them all nice and well rehearsed, sort of, or at least
written in a way that can be spoken.
Written in a way that can be spoken and
filled with jokes.
With jokes.
Some fun additional box text on the screen.
Yeah. And little graphics and do all that stuff.
In case you get bored.
And so that's not going to be what's here.
No, we have no graphics.
Yeah, because normally we do that, and then afterwards we just sort of talk about other stories that we didn't talk about. And so that's what this is going to be. We're going to talk about all the stories we didn't talk about in the episode of CheckPoint. And because there was no episode of CheckPoint, that's all the stories.
It's great.
So, yeah. We'll be back to regular CheckPoint next week, by the way.
That is the plan.
That is the plan,
If something happens in the future, you can't hold us accountable. We tried.
It's true.
We probably definitely tried. That's future me's problem.
We are not responsible for things that happen in the future.
Yes.
Just as a general sense.
I will support that.
Yeah.
I'm not responsible for the things that happen in the future.
Yeah. So let's talk about the video game news that happened mostly. We're going to talk about mostly stuff that happened within the last week or two, but we're going to go a little farther back for some other pieces of news. And we might tomorrow or next week, when we actually do the full episode of CheckPoint again, we might revisit some of these topics to have a more sort of compact take on it, a more CheckPoint hot take on it, I guess. Cold take at this point, I guess.
We're doing cold take. There'll be a hot take later, possibly on a different channel on YouTube than which one this one shows up on, but you could watch both on Twitch.
All right. So
platforms.
Let's talk about some stories that happened in the last little while. These are the stories that I thought were interesting to talk about, mostly because they were funny. Not necessarily like the most important stories, but the ones that I thought were fun. So, for instance, somebody has made an a software adapter to convert the 3D model that a Roomba makes of your house. So when the first time a Roomba goes around your house, especially the more modern ones, they scan. They're actually going through and scanning your house and building up a 3D model of where all the walls and furniture is, so they don't bump into stuff, or they don't bump into stuff more than they are supposed to. And it's quite sophisticated what it can do now. And then once it's done that once, it can then go do it a lot faster. Than it can then go through your house much faster the second time because it knows where all the walls and stuff are.
Oh, so it's learning to speed run.
Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. It's speed running. Vacuuming your carpet, which I think is something you want in an appliance.
Yeah.
Also, then that way it finds where all the important weak points in your house are, so that when the robot apocalypse happens, it can send all that data back to whatever's controlling it.
All right, that seems less of a thing I want.
So anyway,
for my house.
So somebody has figured out how to take that data and turn it into a Doom map. So I had to take that data and convert it into the format that Doom reads for 3D maps. So then you can
fight in your house.
You can fight demons in your house.
I usually don't want to fight demons in my house. I want them to not be in my house.
This I love this from the article. There's a quote from the guy working on this. It's called Doomba, by the way, the software, which is appropriate, I think. He says, I soon realized that there was a clear opportunity to serve the Dark Lord by conceiving a plethora of unholy algorithms in service of one of the finest works ever created in his name. Simultaneously, I would be able to unleash a truly terrible pun to plague humankind. Now the fruit of my labor is born. I bring forth Doomba, half goat, half script creature, with native binary backing for the expensive parts, to be offered in place of my firstborn on this fine Christmas Eve. So this was a little Christmas project for him.
Aw.
There's you can check out more info, and there's like, I wonder if I can, maybe I can load up this picture. Oh wait, no, that'd be over here. But so yeah, that's pretty awesome, I think. All right, what else we got going on here?
I know you've got like two mice and
two mice. A way to set this up. All right, other stuff. You can SimCity, the game we all know and love, came out for Super Nintendo way back in the day. There was a port for Super Nintendo, which I believe was quite popular. But before that, there's at trade shows and things, Nintendo demoed a version of SimCity for the Nintendo, for the NES. For the NES.
So this was like,
but it never actually came out.
We were trying. Super Nintendo came along, was probably better on that, so we finished making it over there.
Right, and it was probably, I think it was one of those things where it was like if they had done it for Nintendo, it would have been like one of the last Nintendo. Yeah, like they were already transitioning over to. They're like, if we're going to bring out a new game that's going to be super popular, why don't we bring it out on our new system and make it cool?
If we're going to make a new thing that's super popular, Paul, why don't we put it on our new thing and make it super cool?
Exactly. Say that.
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, it would be as ridiculous as, say, bringing out a really popular game on your current console and your previous console at the same time, which Nintendo would never do. That would be ridiculous.
Like Breath of the Wild?
No.
Twilight Princess? Wasn't that one too? Isn't it usually a Zelda game?
Yeah, I don't know why Zelda games in particular get Because like Mario games don't get that. It's only Zelda games for some reason.
I guess they don't think the Zelda game will make people necessarily buy the new hardware, but people will still want the game. I mean, chances were good they started working on it on the old hardware anyway.
Right, yeah.
So if they have it, why not sell it?
So anyway, what's really cool is that, so this is now, the reason why it's in the news right now is because a old cart was found a few months ago.
Oh, neat.
Because they did demo it, so it was like mostly complete, and somebody found an old cart, and I think there's one of 2 carts that people know exist of this, and it was bought by the Video Game History Foundation.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Frank Cifaldi, who's the founder of the Video Game History Foundation, found it. Who, by the way, is also, I believe, one of the people who worked on, who worked to get Desert Bus, the original like Penn and Teller Smoke and Mirrors.
Yeah, I could
release.
see
that. Historically, Zelda hasn't brought in new players. Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like Mario has for them, which is why Mario doesn't get the same treatment.
Right. And so they, so they found it, and they did a bunch of work on it because apparently it was like it worked for the demo for the convention circuit, but there were some really nasty bugs in it, and so they did some work for it, and work is actually still being done on it. Like they've kind of they've released the source code, and people are fixing bugs and stuff in it still, and so you can get it and emulate it on NES, which is pretty awesome now, or you can just watch like a video of somebody playing it too, which apparently is maybe a little more like best case scenario, right? Like assuming it works perfectly, it's old SimCity, but a little bit, but with bad graphics because it's an NES, right? So it's like, unless you're super into the history aspect of it, playing it yourself is not going to be that amazing an experience. But as a piece of history, it's very cool. So,
I mean, sometimes I like to play old games because I know certain things have happened in gaming because of those games, and it's neat to kind of experience the
influential, original. Yeah.
It's like watching an older movie, like maybe one that doesn't have sound in it, because you know that style influenced stuff way later.
Right.
And you just kind of want to experience the first one, even though it's going to have maybe less of an impact for you because it's not like the new thing at the time. But if you're aware of that, it can be quite interesting.
And yes, even though our notifier sound is off, we should probably be thanking all these wonderful people who have subscribed. Starting with Captain Spam for 56 months in a row. Says, assorted holiday greetings.
Bronze Finger for 60 months in a row. Welcome back.
Earthen One, thanks for the bits. PH Balance Hype.
Rainbow Phoenix 06 for 27 months in a row.
Red Key Frame for 4 months. Who says 4 months? Woo!
Evil Clock has subscribed for that 25th month. 25 months. That's almost 25 months. Happy New Year, Larry.
Rigel Corvus Black 16 for that 5-month resub.
Chiptone Chipton for 27 months in a row. Happy New Year's, ChillPoint.
And Lord Crusher with 100 bits. Thank you very much.
Shadow Scythe 77, 11 months. Happy New Year, everyone.
Chameleon 84 for 10 months. Thank you very much.
Lord Crusher 39 months. 39 months? Oh my goodness.
Slopsody for 10 months says Happy New Year.
Sangar 87 for 14 months. Happy New Year's Eve. Keep doing the awesome stuff you guys do.
Awkward Burb.
It's a good name.
Yeah. Is that cheap?
Frying Chain 20 for 2 months. Welcome back. Welcome back with that second month sub.
Yay. I always love second month subs because it's like, you know, they could have done it once, like by mistake or something.
Or maybe a gift sub.
Or a gift, yeah. But it's just like, they're like, no, this wasn't a mistake. I'm okay with this.
Cool.
Yeah. Steel Fox 13 for the 13 months in a row. Lucky number 13. Yay!
Dex Cat, 4 months in a row. Happy sub-anniversary on this fine New Year's Eve.
Exachex Kasune for 39 months in a row says Happy New Year's Eve.
Oh man, I want a New Year's Eve. I bet that looks great as an evolution.
Ah.
The Passerby, 21 months in a row. 21 months? I had more months than this. What happened to my bigger number? Happy New Year.
Oh no. I hope they haven't stolen months from you. E.C. Jones, 1975 for 60 months in a row. That 5-year sub. Thank you very much.
We've been going for that long.
Going for longer than that.
Yeah, I guess it's true. Abivus for 16 months in a row. 16 months. Happy New Year. Lure awesome. That's a muffin, I believe.
Agent Aria for 14 months in a row says Lure Horn.
Pterodactyl for 17 months in a row, joining the sub trade.
Anti-Crepuscular for 19 months in a row. What time does the New Year's begin on the moon?
At midnight.
Yeah.
Pacific time.
Yeah. When
that was a mean answer.
In the moon's Pacific time zone.
Let's consider for 6 months in a row. Hey there, let's watch some ChillPoint.
Steel City Exile for 13 months in a row. CheckPoint and Chill. Yeah.
50 McNasty for 27 months in a row. Yay for ChillPoint sub. I mean, the thing that they don't know is that 2018 actually died in 1942. It's been dead for that long.
Wow. That's weird. That's weirdly forward thinking of people in 1942.
Mm-hmm.
But that they would go and kill 2018.
I tweeted this like the other day, but it was like 2018 was 10 years too long because it just feels like an incredibly long year for some reason to me. Like anytime someone brings up a thing that's like that happened this year, that seems wrong somehow.
Except by the same token, when we were doing like the New Year's, the Boxing Day stream, every piece of media that I could think of had come out in 2017.
Yep.
So there it is. Time is funny that way.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let us continue with the news.
What news shall we news upon them?
So apparently, there's a tutorial on how to play Smash in Smash.
How novel that a game would have a tutorial on how to play it.
Yeah, but there's which may be a surprise to a lot of people, because there was some complaints that a game like Smash didn't have a tutorial in it.
Oh, well.
It turns out the tutorial is weirdly hard to find.
Is it an assist trophy that you have to unlock before it will let you see it?
No. But if you go into the...
For tutorials in Smash, you cowards!
Yeah. If you go into the help section or the how to play section,
yes,
that does not give you the tutorial.
Oh. I thought you were going to say that is where you get the tutorial.
No.
Okay, yes, that makes sense.
There's information in there on how to play, but there's a completely different, more in-depth tutorial if you go into the vault and go into the movies section. There is a how to play video, which is not actually in the how to play section of the menu, that tells you how to play how the basics of the game and like the rules of Smash. Of course, you could all just go check out spectator mode. That'll tell you all the rules of Smash. But
I could understand it being in a vault, but then I would think that the help section would be in the vault, because that's sometimes a place where people put the vault type deal is where additional stuff just goes sometimes, so that can include tutorials, but I wouldn't have expected it under movies.
Yeah. So yeah, the some of the tips, there's also a tips section in the movies thing that show a bunch of the like moves for some of the fighters. But those are different from the tips shown in the actual tips section of the menu. Anyway.
Put organization in Smash, you cowards. Use a Bujo. I don't know what you need for an organization method, but this is not it.
No, you see, Nintendo understandably realized that this was a bit of a problem, so they fixed it. They have now released they have released a tutorial on how to find the tutorial.
Is it in the game? Is this tutorial in the game, or do I have to search this in the outside world? Because video games, no.
I believe they posted it on YouTube.
No! I should not have to look for additional content on how to play my video game outside my video game.
I saw this article in my Twitch News timeline. Yeah. So they released it as just kind of a graphic.
Oh, so it could be in the news section of your...
Yeah.
Okay, that's also not great, though, because what if I buy the game a year from now and then I don't know? What if Nintendo... This goes towards all games. There are several games that do this kind of thing where they're like, "Yo, we told you how to play it if you go and look at this thing over here."
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I feel like it's like this, like Smash in particular. It was one of those things where like Nintendo made the whole thing, and they're like, "Okay, let's do this. We're ready to publish this." Someone's like, "Did we actually tell anybody how to play the game?" Everyone's like,
people need to know how to play the game.
It's Smash. Everyone knows how to play Smash.
Maybe.
But we're trying to get new people to play it, right? And by definition, those people haven't played Smash.
Hide the tutorial. Hide the real tutorial, because clearly we got like a pretend tutorial. And if you find it, you unlock a special assist trophy. Explore all the parts of the game and get a special assist trophy.
The assist trophy is... It tells you the assistance that the assist trophy gives you is it tells you how to actually play.
The assist trophy turns out to be Flipnote for the 3DS.
That'd be great, like an assist trophy where just like a little guy appears and just like gives you a hint. Just like little guy appears and be like, "Hey, push B to block."
I mean, I have seen people want Clippy to go into Smash, and it would be really funny if it showed up every now and then. Was like, "Are you sure you want to do that? Did you mean this? You look like you could use some help. Would you like me to bring up the tutorial?"
Looks like you're
trying. Away?
Looks like you're trying to win a game of Smash.
In a 4-player match, it would be really hilarious if it just popped up under one player. It's like, "It looks like you're trying to win. Would you like some advice?"
Yeah,
it'd be so condescending.
Well, that's what I love about. I think so far in like the bit I've watched and played of Smash, I think Wii Fit Trainer is my favorite. Just because she's always just like beating the crap out of somebody and then like, "Good job." It's like, "You'll get it." I mean, she's like she's just giving you like advice on like how to do better yoga while punching you in the face.
I love watching the videos where they introduce when they were introducing new characters for the first few times, and they would show like the Wii Fit Trainer showing other Mario characters and stuff how to do yoga and whatnot, and I really like those little videos. But then like Katie Tiedrick of Awkward Zombie does like the best like basically Smash House comic where it's a fanfic of them all living in the same house, and every time a Smash happens it's like new characters come in and new characters have to leave and other characters didn't want to leave, and it's just great. That's what I like about Smash.
The in-depth storylines.
Yes, the fan-made in-depth storylines.
Put story in Smash, you cowards. All right. The PlayStation Classic, which we talked about a little bit on the last episode of CheckPoint.
Yeah, it was found out that it was
in relation to it being crappy.
Yeah, like you could easily put like ROMs on it or.
Well, something. There's that. But unfortunately, the actual games on it, it's the games that come with it. Are almost universally just it's the emulation is just really bad. A bunch of the games, they got the PAL versions of them instead of the NTSC versions of them, even though it's an NTSC thing. So they're running at the wrong speed, so they're like running at 50 hertz, and then being converted to 60.
So you're saying that Sony saw somebody else doing a thing that was working. and they jumped on it really quick, and now they're jumping off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds about right with some of their stuff.
So as this article on Kotaku says, 1 month after the SNES Classic launched, it was impossible to find. 1 month after the SNES Classic launched, it was the hottest thing you could get. We are now 1 month after the PlayStation Classic is launched, and it's been marked down from $100 to $60.
That's yeah.
And then this is when like the people at Sony are like, well, I guess people just don't want this product.
Yeah, they do that.
We tried.
They do that when a product that they put out that doesn't really work the way it should fails.
Yeah.
They're always like, oh, well, people don't really want that.
No,
and
it's the children who are wrong. It can't be us.
It's like, but so-and-so across the street is doing it, and people want that one. Are you sure? You sure people don't want? Okay. Yeah, all right.
Some people got it for $30 with price match. Wow.
Yeah, I heard there were some sales on it during
I mean,
as well.
This might be one of those things where, like, if you can get one for $30 and like do some hacking on it, it might actually be like worthwhile, just for the actual hardware.
I mean, if I can get it for $10, it'll make a cool paperweight.
And yeah. and you also, I mean, it's a way to play those games on HDMI, which is kind of nice, without like some weird adapter.
Thankfully, it's just called the PlayStation Classic, and it doesn't have a number in it. So for PlayStation 4 guys, doesn't have to buy one.
Exactly. There's a great story. Ars Technica, actually, for those of you who don't know, it's a great tech news website. They've been doing this series called War Stories, which is like video game sort of stories from old school video game developers about, you know, cool things that happened during the development of well-known games. And the best part is, so there's a story about Serious Sam, which is a great first-person. It's a great sort of old-school style first-person shooter where just, you know, run and kill things and blow stuff up, and it's a lot of fun. And what I love about it is they're saying that they made a demo of it, just like the first level, and then tried to kind of shop it around to people to get publishers more interested in it.
Sure, yeah.
And but they were also released this demo as a thing.
Okay.
And so lots of other people played it, including Old Man Murray, which was a video game review site, and sort of specialized in the kind of curmudgeonly reviews, I guess you could say.
Okay.
And he's one of the people who and had a very a positive review of this demo, largely based on the crate review system they had, which was that how soon after you start do you see a crate? Okay. The idea being that that's like a very lazy video game thing, is that like, it's like, oh, there's a crate like right there. And what's great is I bet on Talking Sim or Watch and Play, that's something that Alex actually does as well. The start to crate.
Yeah, Alex
evaluation.
Really seems to dislike crates.
That's something that Alex talks about as well.
Which I find, I don't disagree. There are definitely games that are putting in crates that are just like space filling and whatnot. But I disagree that a crate is innately bad.
It's not it's just one point of data in the thing. The crates and sewer levels. Serious Sam has no crates in it.
Huh.
And so this guy gave, you know, this sort of quite popular but sort of famously curmudgeonly negative website gave it quite a positive review because of that, or partially because of that. And that in turn led them, help them find a publisher and get it actually produced. And in hindsight, they didn't put crates in it because they just forgot, like they just didn't think of it. Like it wasn't like a deliberate thing on their point. They'd be like, no, we're not going to have crates. They were just like, it never occurred to us.
It's not a thing that occurred to them because it wasn't a thing they needed. Sure. I mean, granted, because I know there are people in chat asking how often do you see crate. I don't see a lot of crates these days, but I did work retail in places where in the back room some stuff just comes in crates.
Yeah.
It's a real object. It's got a purpose.
Crates exist. I mean, boxes are more common now, but crates
there
definitely
are certain
exist.
things that still get shipped by crate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually stuff that you don't, like, a lot of, like, breakable things shipping on, like, ships with lots of padding and stuff still comes in crates. Because a cardboard box can fold. It can get wet. Bad things can happen.
There was actually a scheme I read about a while ago where some people got caught smuggling precious exotic hardwoods. And how they were doing it was shipping stuff in crates and using like pallets and things made out of these hardwoods. So they were like shipping dumps. They were shipping like anything. It doesn't matter what. But the crate that they would pack it in would be made out of this like actually made out of like really nice wood.
This story doesn't end the
and
way
then
I
they
want
could disassemble it when it got to the part, sell the stuff that was actually in the crate. But the actual hardwood that the crate was made out of was worth more than the stuff inside.
So, like, I remember seeing an old movie where these bank robbers want to rob a bank, and in order to do that, they rent out the space next to the bank, and they basically they like sell cookies. They make it into a bakery, but it turns out the bakery that they're running is way more lucrative than than trying to go and steal money out of this bank that they're having a hard time getting through all of like the stuff that would be around the bank. And I just really wanted this story to be like, yeah, they were trying to do the smuggling thing, but it turns out that they just run a really good
efficient shipping business. That was like I think that was a Key and Peele sketch where they have the like guys planning a robbery. He's like, okay, what we do is we get into the bank, we get jobs, or we get working there, and we work there, and you know we wait like 15, 20 years just keeping our heads down, working along. It's like, well, how do we get the money? That's the great part. They just put it into our bank account every month. Yeah. Like clockwork. They won't even see it coming. It's like, dude, that's a job.
Yeah, that was a good sketch.
All right, so speaking of terrible ways to make money, this is a story that actually started earlier in the month and now has sort of concluded. In the sense that they've decided to stop it. But so Street Fighter V Arcade Edition had this idea that they were going to have sponsored. They were going to have add costumes into the game to advertise things.
Like your character would be wearing like how race drivers and stuff.
Yeah. Or actually, honestly, like. In like martial arts competitions, people will often have ads on their gis, right? They'll have sponsorships, right?
I was not aware of that.
Just the way as any athletes will have.
I've not actually seen a real one of those. It's usually in movies, and they don't seem to do that in the movie.
But the problem, of course, is that in Street Fighter, their people's outfits are very iconic, and so what they did is they made these like They made like ad skins, so they were like a separate skin for the player right. for the thing. So it was optional, but you got more fight points, which is what Street Fighter calls their like in-game currency.
Right. So
So if you fought with the fighter with the ad on him,
watch this ad, gain an extra play
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. That's
but they were
right.
the ads. Here, I should actually pull this up because it's really bad. The ads were very, very poorly received, largely because they were very, very poorly done. They took, like I said, the character costumes in Street Fighter are very iconic.
Yeah, they're all.
And so,
I mean, they are what they are. So.
And so when they take like an outfit like that and they put an ad for the Capcom Pro Tour on the back of it,
I mean, no, it doesn't look good. But I wasn't expecting them to be advertising their own stuff. I was expecting it to be like, oh well, Pepsi's paying us money, so here's like a Pepsi ad. Or
maybe this was just like a test. They were just doing their own stuff.
I could see that.
My favorite is this one here. This is Dalsum. He's got it on his waist, on his little cummerbund, whatever, around his waist. It's also on one of the skulls around his neck.
Why bother? That's not.
Which I believe canonically are skulls of children from his village that he's avenging or something.
Okay.
Which is probably not where you want your ad to be if you're an advertiser.
It's not where I would want my ad to go if I was advertising a thing.
There's very also the other part is that usually the costumes in the sort of ad version of the costume is their default costume with the thing on it. For a couple of the characters like Cammy and Armika, their default costume is, shall we say, a little risque for advertisers, and so they decided to make make their ad costume a variation on a costume with a little more coverage.
I mean, there are YouTube. It's very like, oh well, this is not good for advertisers, so people might not want it. So I can see. Also, why they would want that.
There's
why
not
does
like
Guile
a lot
have
of
tattoo of it on his arm.
Yeah. Well, Guile has. He normally has American flag tattoos on his arms.
Sure, but
to illustrate that he's American.
But
so they replace it
to illustrate that he is Capcom Pro Tour.
Yeah, that he's such a hardcore fan of the Capcom Pro Tour that he decided to have it. He had his American flag tattoos replaced with the Capcom Pro Tour.
I like this better. He doesn't wear American flag tattoos because he's American. He wears them because he's such a fan of America. That works better in my brain. Yep.
He's actually sponsored by America.
Yeah, no, that seems correct.
So anyway, as you might have guessed, it did not go over great with the fan base.
Right.
And so they have now been removed. So they put these into place, I think December 15th.
When did they get removed? How fast was that? Do you know?
They have now.
It says.
I think as of today or as of yesterday or something.
Okay, so like 2 weeks.
So early in December they put it in, and as of the 27th, so a couple days ago, they're now gone. The outfits are still there.
They just don't have the ads.
They just don't have any ads on them anymore.
Okay. Given that from everyone we've seen has been the Capcom Pro Tour, that probably was a test. Mm-hmm. And it got a super bad reaction, so they didn't do it.
Yeah, so like obviously if it had been like, Coke or something, then that would have had like massive backlash onto their sponsor, which would have been super bad.
But if they test it and it goes over well, or even just like fine, like nobody cares, they could have easily been like, hey, look at what we're doing. Did you want to get in on this and give us money for it.
Yeah.
Because then they can prove it as a testing ground.
Now the interesting thing from a meta sort of narrative point of view is does the fact that Guile having the Capcom Pro Tour tattoo, does that mean that the Capcom Pro Tour exists in the Street Fighter universe? Does the game Street Fighter exist in the Street Fighter universe?
Maybe it's like the Olympics. It's a thing that happens every so often, which is why he had it for a bit, but now it's gone.
He's like, but like, can characters in the Street Fighter universe play the game Street Fighter as like themselves?
Probably, but they don't.
Or they probably play as like other characters.
Yeah.
They're like, oh man, Chun-Li. It's like, yeah, Guile's like a Chun-Li main. It's like, yeah, I don't really like how Guile attacks. I love his music though. It works with everything. All right, what else we got going on here? The Steam biggest sellers from 2018 they're basically the games you would expect.
Okay.
Counter-Strike, Dota, Warframe, Elder Scrolls, Grand Theft Auto, Rainbow Six Siege, Rocket League, Civ 6, PUBG.
It's a lot of multiplayer games.
A lot of multiplayer games, a lot of free-to-play games.
Mm-hmm.
The most interesting part about this, to me anyway, is that so many of these games, among the 12 what they call gold level selling games, only 2 of them actually came out in 2018.
Huh.
So
which
means that basically the vast majority of the money being made by the most the highest revenue generating games on Steam is being made through like DLC and other things, because a lot of these are free to play games anyway. But yeah, when like a 2012 game like Counter-Strike, Dota, and Warframe are 2012, and 2013 games, being one of the highest grossing games on Steam in 2018 is pretty impressive. Like, that's a long shelf life on that one.
Yeah. The 2 from this year were Jurassic World Evolution and Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Jurassic World Evolution is cool.
I've heard a lot of people talk about that one when it came out.
Yeah,
it sounded like fun.
We played it on
Games of Chance.
Games of Chance, and it was pretty fun. It was cool, especially when we like named Tyrannosaurus Adam, and then named another thing Twitch Chat and had them fight.
Yeah, I remember that clip. I mean, that's the fun with games like that, is naming everything from like for things that you know or people you know, and seeing what happens.
Yeah.
And being either horrified or given endless entertainment.
All right, what else we got going up here? This is...
Oh, yes, I've heard about this.
Highly relevant.
This is recent.
This is
really recent.
This is, in fact, just Friday, I think. Now, this is not... I think this is not a thing that is actually going to definitely happen. This is something that they're testing. But Blizzard has talked about making it so that if you want to comment in their in the stream, on the Twitch stream for their upcoming like Overwatch tournaments and stuff, the first one is going to be the Overwatch Contenders Season 3 quarterfinals, which actually apparently has already started. So maybe they're already doing this. They're going to make it so that you have to tie your Twitch account to your Battle.net account. So what that means is, one, you have to have a Battle.net account. Now, I think you can get a Battle.net account without actually buying any Blizzard games.
No.
But it's still an extra step.
It's if nothing else, it means they get more people on it, which means maybe they can sell more people on stuff, which is a reason to do stuff like that, but that's still annoying.
And now they haven't actually like said this explicitly, but obviously the big thing is that theoretically, if you misbehave in Twitch chat, the implications of that could extend beyond just banning you from Twitch chat. They could actually take away your Battle.net account, theoretically, or ban you from Battle.net or something, which in turn makes it so that you wouldn't be able to play any Battle.net games, which would be a pretty... I mean, presumably you'd have to do something really bad. And they haven't said that they're going to do that.
No, but that's
But there's
kind
no...
of the,
but, like,
the
why
thing
else would
they're
they
looking
want...
at, right?
But, like, why else would they want you to tie them together unless it was to make it so that they could enforce things on a greater level than just Twitch.
So, I am all for making people accountable in other areas, because one thing in life does typically affect other things in life, and sometimes having additional accountability will curb people from being, let's call them silly, because I don't want to call them names. But if this is all done algorithmically or in other ways, then there's some problems with that.
Yeah. And
there
also,
can be problems with that.
And when we're talking about, and once you start talking about not just banning somebody for being silly, but actually in some cases taking away something that they have spent money on, right?
Yeah.
Then that becomes, like, if you've got a bunch of, like, say, Overwatch skins that you've paid a bunch of money for or whatever associated with your account, and then that account is banned, then that could be really bad. So at that point, we're talking. So hopefully, the process would be a lot more.
Like, that would have to be in terms of service and in some other areas. Like, you would have to agree to a thing like that.
Right. And hopefully that would be a shall we say, extreme situation where that would happen.
Mm-hmm. And that's not a thing they're actually doing. This is just like this is a thing that they're testing, and
this is a thing they're testing.
Right?
They haven't said that they are actually going to ban anybody from Battle.net or anything like that. They have not said that. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation, and it seems like the obvious conclusion.
Yeah.
But they haven't said that they're doing that. But it is an interesting idea of I don't know if Battle.net is actually tied to your real name. I guess if you've got your billing information associated with your Battle.net account, in that case, then it is associated with your real name. So there's a connection there between your Twitch account and your real name.
Yeah.
Which is,
I mean, I don't know anything about the Battle.net stuff because I don't have a Battle.net account.
If you paid, there have been court rulings on this. If you paid, you should be able to sue to get your accounts back. I mean, I know there have been things that's not necessarily cut and dry. It depends on. I know there's lots of situations where people have been banned from stuff where they've actually paid money for and have not been able to get it back too. So,
yeah,
in most cases, the reason for the banning was legitimate. Like they were violating whatever terms of service, but it's
It gets more tricky when when money does get involved because it's harder. But
rather than just sort of ostracizing from the community.
Sometimes I feel like it's. Well, let's take us for example. If we had somebody who was incredibly belligerent in chat and was an awful person who was being super racist and a bunch of other things, I don't care that they've subbed to us. They can get banned.
Yeah.
In fact, we're totally going to ban them.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing though, where it's like, you ban them from the chat, but like, the only situation I can think of where I'd want to go to more extreme measures than just banning somebody from the chat is somebody who's doing like hardcore ban evasion stuff. They keep coming back in different ways and stuff.
Oh, sure.
But if you've got to tie your Battle.net account to your Twitch account, then that sort of prevents that anyway.
It's a bit of a different...
So maybe, but I mean, maybe that is actually part of it, is that it means that if they ban you from Twitch, you can't just go and immediately create a new Twitch account and go back in, because you'd have to also have another Battle.net account.
It would definitely be another step. I mean, there's nothing more to say about it. It's a thing they're going to try out, and if it becomes another thing they do, then people will report on it, and we'll see what the fallout of that is like.
Yeah.
If they don't, maybe they at least get some interesting data that maybe they will share. Yeah.
And I mean, various companies have considered putting in systems to sort of tie people's user accounts to their real name in a more clear way, to the real world identity in a more clear way. And there are obviously lots of benefits in that in terms of moderation. There are also bad parts about that that aren't just people who are assholes don't get to be assholes anymore. Like there are legitimate reasons why you might not want to have your username tied to your real world situation. There are
things for that. But the positive thing is we know this is a thing that they're doing. Unlike, say, some other companies who just do things for fun, and then you find out later only because somebody was like, hey, this thing keeps happening and it's weird.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh yeah, by the way,
we were...
Yeah, if
we opted you all into a test on a thing without your knowledge.
As an example, like if Blizzard did a thing where they like somebody was being really bad in Twitch chat, if they didn't implement this, but somebody was being really bad in Twitch chat, they banned them from Twitch chat and then went to like Battle.net and saw somebody with the same username and also banned them from Battle.net without having previously said that was a possible repercussion,
then yeah,
that could be very bad. Also, you aren't even necessarily getting the right person at that point, but
that's true. I actually can't always get the name Lunar Jade on stuff. So I go with because I can't think of another name that I like. I actually add a D to the end, so it says Lunar Jaded. And then I have to remember which one I've chosen on which things.
Which services am I jaded on? All right. Other stuff. Resident Evil 2 remake, which I know Alex is pretty stoked about. I know Graham is also pretty stoked about. I believe they've already, or at least Alex, I believe, has.
I do believe there has definitely been some dibs called on
playing. Yeah, some dibs for playing this on New Day. The Resident Evil 2 remake, they've released official bios for all the characters, which obviously we already knew, because the game's this is a remake, and there were previously bios in like the manual that came with it.
Oh, okay.
So
were those not official before?
They were, except they've changed. So Leon Kennedy, who's one of the main characters in it, his bio used to be, his backstory used to be that he's about to start his job as a cop.
Okay.
And his girlfriend breaks up with him.
Well, that sucks.
And so he spends the night in a motel, getting super drunk off his gourd, and is so drunk that he misses his first day of work.
Oh no!
Which happens to be the day in which all the zombies come around.
Wait, Resident Evil 2 is a bad cop zombie movie?
Well, it's a video game, but yes. And so he misses the first day of work when all the zombies come, and so you start the thing. That's why you're not at the police station that gets attacked.
Oh, okay.
The new version of it. So that was previously his backstory. The new backstory is new officer Leon Kennedy is assigned to Raccoon City. Before going on duty, he was at home on standby, waiting for his orders. After no one contacted him and feeling something was off, he headed to the station. Days later, after arriving in Raccoon City, his life changed.
So they kind of decided the whole weird relationship thing and the breakup and then the getting drunk thing was not relevant.
They just didn't. They
didn't really
rather,
do that.
Rather than being like this guy who had gotten blackout drunk the night before and was like fighting zombies with a severe hangover. Now he's just like, I was on standby and then nobody called, so I went in to see what happened. Yeah, it's a lot less interesting.
Okay,
Like,
I can make it more interesting.
It gives a little bit of even though this was never actually mentioned in the game, this was only like in the manual.
Yeah,
but it was just
they just put it in a reason, really.
Yeah.
So since we only just need a reason, let's change it. Let's not make him a cop. He works in retail, and Christmas busy season's coming up, but they have way too many people, and they're like, we're gonna put you on standby for the holiday work thing. And then no one called him, and he was like, I really need a job, so maybe I'll come by and see how that worked. Oh no, there were zombies.
Also,
like, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. Well, he's supposed to be a cop, though. Like, he's in. Like,
I think that's just a reason to give him a gun. More than anything.
Also, if you're at home waiting on standby, and nobody calls you,
you just stay home.
That's what standby means.
Or maybe you go grocery shopping or something.
Like, if nobody calls, yeah.
Do they have cell phones in this, or is this like pre-cell phone era?
I don't actually know.
I've not played Resident Evil.
Like, if you're at home on standby, you're like not wearing pants.
The only thing
you're
I know
just relaxing
about Resident Evil is something about a Jill sandwich, and I heard they took that out of the remake of the first one. Memes.
I feel like you may have missed the context of that one.
I think she was going to get smushed by spikes or something.
Yes. It wasn't like that she was going to be a sandwich.
No, but there was like a dumb line about it.
Yeah. Anyway,
I had to look it up because I didn't understand why that was a meme. Sometimes I try to look up why memes are memes, and it's a bad idea every time, but I do it.
Like, isn't the answer always because some people thought it was fun?
Usually.
All right. Other piece of Doom news. I guess when people are
bored, they go to Doom?
Well, when people are like home for like Christmas vacation and have nothing to do, they're like, I'm going to hack a Doom thing. Somebody has released a game called Hellshots Golf. So I don't know. Maybe this would be good for Adam.
Oh yeah, he likes golf. In his
golf
video games.
In games that aren't golf.
Yeah.
This is Hellshots Golf. You play golf, but in Doom. So it's golf in hell. According to the designer, this really should not have taken half a year to put out. But anyway, apparently you have a heavy, a medium, and a light putter.
Okay.
And apparently some of the levels are like par 20, so they're they're big.
They're
and probably windy, and also there's like. He's saying
it's like lava. You're not getting the ball out of the lava.
Yeah, they're saying it's a perfect representation of what golf will be like on Mars, with pain elementals impolitely attempting to play through your round. So I guess you're actually being like attacked by bad guys at the same time.
I mean, that definitely makes golf harder.
Mm-hmm.
I would say golf is a much harder game if things are trying to hit you while you're trying to make the perfect swing.
The idea of golf, but everybody is like playing, like you're basically like at a driving range, like, so you do have a danger of being hit by a golf ball while you're golfing yourself. Like, it's basically if all the if all the courses in a golf course kind of overlapped, so everyone was in danger of hitting each other all at the same time.
Oh, no.
This is probably why I don't get to design golf courses.
I've been hit in the head with a golf club. I imagine being hit in the head with a golf ball that's been swung by a golf club is not It's not.
It's
a fun
probably
thing.
better than being hit by a golf club.
Yes, that was at a golf course. That was an accidental thing where I was standing too close. And
Oh,
the
you were
person
like
didn't-
standing behind them or
and
something?
they didn't notice me. Like I was actually pretty young at the time.
Oh no.
So yeah, I got whacked right in the head. It's not fun. Don't do that.
I can imagine. I'm gonna have to reschedule my recreational getting hit by a golf club class.
I just realized I should maybe actually give context to that as opposed to like, yeah, that thing happened. I think I was like 12 or something.
It's when you're, because when you're little, you're like at just the right height for a golf club to really whale you in the face.
Yeah, but I'm also old enough that like I probably shouldn't be standing that close to people who are trying to swing a club.
It's fair.
I don't know.
All right.
Golf wasn't really for me.
I like you coming back being like, golf is a terrible game. It hurts. Why do people play this game? My entire young life representation of golf is you go to the golf course and somebody hits you with a golf club. I hate this game. All right.
I should
Another
really consider wearing helmets.
Another end of 2018 thing. The largest Kickstarter campaign of the year is a board game, which, for those of you who don't know, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you see it, video game Kickstarters have really kind of taken a dive in the past couple of years. Probably because there's been a lot of high-profile video game Kickstarters that haven't gone very well.
Yeah, a lot of high-profile ones. Some smaller ones that also haven't gone super great, but also because they're smaller, they don't require the same amount of money.
That's true. But on the plus side, board game Kickstarters, that seems to be like the sweet spot for Kickstarters. Like board games, I feel like board games, because they're there's something physical and tangible that you can get from a Kickstarter, and also a lot of board games are in the realm of possibility for either one person or like a very small team to make, and so you don't have this problem like you do with video games where they'll be like, yay, we got this money, let's crew up 25 people and then burn through all our money really fast.
Yeah, it turns out it took a lot longer than we were expecting. A lot of not video game, board games, Kickstarter things I've seen too are people who've made board games before, so
That's
they
true.
have a better idea of what their budget is, they've got contacts and whatnot. They just actually need the money, but it is a singular project, which is what Kickstarter is designed for, unlike something like Patreon, which is more of a long-term thing.
Yeah, and as someone was saying, yeah, and board games also have a nice. You can often sort of scale up the. You can go from like cardboard pieces to like plastic pieces.
Yeah.
Or like we can get different amounts of miniatures or stuff. Like there's a lot of sort of stretch goal stuff.
That's an easy
you can
thing
do.
to research.
And that doesn't require. It allows you to add new value to the thing without requiring a lot more time. Whereas with video games, a lot of the stretch goals would be like, we'll add another level. And it'll be like, well, then that's going to take longer to come out.
Yeah.
You can't really be like, the game will be made out of cardboard.
I mean, we could. It's going to be a different game. Yeah. Which,
So anyway, so the highest grossing or the best highest value Kickstarter for the year was the Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon Kickstarter, which is an elaborate board game by Awakened Realms, who also did This War of Mine, the board game.
Yeah, see, so they've made a board game before.
Exactly.
They know what their
a little bit of
budgets
established
are,
stuff,
what they need, especially for what they're going for. And I mean, let's face it, some board game projects are kind of niche. They're going to make them, people are going to buy them, and then their market for that game has probably dried up.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when I read the description of this board game, it sounds really neat, and it sounds like something that could be really fun, like for instance for like us to do on like AFK or something. If we had if we were sort of if we sort of get people excited about it, but it's not a kind of thing that we could do like once every couple months, because it's apparently it's like a sort of it's not a legacy game, but it sort of has a plot that you go through. Also, it's got a 100,000 word game book that contains the entire narrative arc of the experience. So it's like it's a pretty substantial thing, which unfortunately, as we have found out over the years, these real complicated games, while there's nothing wrong with them, of course, often don't work that well on AFK.
Sometimes they're just harder to stream.
Yeah, and they sort of require, in some cases, they sort of require the players to have like previously played the game, or have like, it's like by like the sixth time we've streamed it, everyone is finally kind of understands how to play, which is not really very fun to watch.
It's harder. It's if we played the game like a million times beforehand and then played it on stream, it's like cool. But we also don't typically have. One of the reasons we have an AFK board game stream is because most of us don't have time to go and play board games with everybody.
So it's a tricky one. But anyway, it sounds like a pretty neat game. And this is Awakened Realms' 8th Kickstarter campaign. So they're old hands at this. But anyway, I have no reason to disbelieve that they will get this thing done. It's supposed to be coming out sort of mid to late next year.
If they've got other Kickstarters that they've fulfilled on, that's also probably what has helped their current one.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the thing about working with Kickstarter is you kind of prove a track record, and then people can look at that and be like, oh, okay, well, you did this thing and it went through, and so I get it. Yeah, I'll put money
I think that's definitely started to be like. I
mean, Kickstarter's been around long enough to
have that, and also they've put in place like there's a lot of, because they've obviously. It's been, shall we say, a learning experience for all of us, how Kickstarters operate.
Mm-hmm.
And so Kickstarter itself has put in protections, in terms of making sure that there's your thing is actually like a possible to make.
Yeah.
It isn't just like some random idea you came up with.
I didn't put a sentence of text on the screen saying, I'm totally going to do this really cool thing, give me money.
It's like once we get the...
That's Indiegogo, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
It's
like once we get
them... certain projects go on to Indiegogo.
Right. It's always the thing where it's like, we're going to use this money to research whether our idea is possible.
Yeah.
That's always bad.
Did Kickstarter hide the tutorial? Not that I'm aware of, but I've never tried.
Elite Dangerous. So,
what about it?
Elite Dangerous is a super neat sort of open world, I guess, open universe, open galaxy game. It's one of these games, a little bit like Eve or something, where it's a lot of it's sort of massively multiplayer, and a lot of the what you would call the actual like gameplay or the fun is sort of user generated stuff.
Okay.
So it's sort of, there's most of the stuff to do in the game is like, mining stuff and little fetch quests and things. Like, it's not the most exciting gameplay, but what turns it into more of a thing is you can, how you interact with other players and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, yeah. Little sandbox
They
thing. Yeah.
they are planning the community is planning what they're calling Distant Worlds 2, which is going to be this like epic Oregon Trail style like convoy going to the farthest reaches of the universe that is in the thing. Apparently, it's 200,000 light years. I think it's going to take something like 8 months, like real time, to do. So
Super cool.
So obviously, your people can log out and stuff as it's going, but like they're doing stuff where they're like getting together groups of like people who are going to be this article is written by a guy who plays this, and he's part of the group that's going to be like part of the documenting group that they're going to be like doing, taking, I guess, photos and screenshots and stuff of as they go. There's like a geology group that is like has all their ships like set up for doing like samples, mineral samples of like asteroids that they find along the way and stuff.
That's super cool. I'm not going to play that game, but I want to watch his.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing that I like hearing about. I don't necessarily want to like do it, but
no, that's great.
And so it's a whole. It's going to be like a whole process. And apparently, they've tried to do stuff like this before. And there was a big thing that we talked about a few months ago, where there's gonna be like a expedition to this inaccessible place on the map that had become accessible because of like a new upgrade made it so you could do farther jumps. But the problem is that the developers actually didn't intend that area to be accessible.
Oh.
And so it was sort of a doomed expedition that like the developers didn't really say anything about it, but you kind of weren't supposed to be there. And so what happened is like they went and then they were like attacked by a bunch of aliens, which was sort of the developers' way of
trying to make them turn back,
making it, which had some bad feels happen because people.
Well, you're excited for your journey, and then you get attacked by your airplane that you're supposed to go on. Like,
yeah, it's kind of lame.
That's super disappointing.
But,
I have a bad time at airports.
But apparently this expedition is more. It's not planned by the developers, but it has been, I guess, okayed by the developer. They are actually going to a place that does exist.
Oh, okay.
It's not like a place that has been reserved for future content, which was the other place that they had a problem with. This seems like it's it seems like it could be super neat. I'm interested. I'm interested to see how it goes. It's going to be a whole a big expedition that they go traveling on, and who knows? I imagine there will be many stories and YouTube videos and so forth made about it that probably won't have that much relevance to people who aren't part of the community. But that kind of sort of user created stuff I always find very cool.
I like it when people are invested in a thing so that they make other things surrounding that thing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, cool, I'm not interested in doing any of the thing, but I love that you're doing the thing. Mm-hmm.
Although I would remind the people, anybody who's going on this trip, that the game is called Elite Dangerous. It's not called Elite Everything is Safe. Don't worry about it.
What about Elite Everything is Fine?
Yeah, Elite Everything is Fine did not succeed as a video game. So it is called Elite Dangerous. So, make sure you're ready for whatever's out there.
Pack some additional underwear.
Exactly. 2 pairs. You're gonna be gone for 8 months. Make sure you get the second pair. That way you can wash one while you wear the other.
Okay.
I presume You have
'cause
laundry
you
facilities in your little ship.
You still want to pack light? Yes, I
Bring a towel, exactly.
I mean, don't you always just have a towel with you?
I assume so. It's just part of your...
It's part of my clothes.
Mm-hmm. BioWare, the founders of BioWare, the two doctors, Ray Mazuka, and,
the real doctors. Okay.
and Dr. Greg Zeschuk.
You said doctor, and I was like, yes. The whole funny, yes, everyone is a doctor bit.
No. These guys are real, actual doctors who originally started the company BioWare it was a medical company. They were doing like stuff for medical, and then they realized that they like doing video games better.
I mean, good on them.
Yeah. They have been honored with the Order of Canada, which is the highest civilian honor that Canada gives out.
Canada honors people?
Yeah.
Huh. I learn something new every day.
It's one of these things where they give it out to people who have not only done sort of brave things, but also people who have contributed to society. So part of the idea is that BioWare has stayed in Canada in some ways. They were founded in Edmonton, and they are still there.
Because I guess they could move that office if they wanted to. They could do things that might even be better for them in terms of...
The second highest. Oh, the Order of Merit is higher. Well, according to this article, it's the highest, but...
Yeah, but this is by Polygon. They're not
Polygon
Canadian.
doesn't know.
They maybe just don't know. I mean, I'm Canadian, and I was like, sure, yeah, that's the highest order. Why not?
Yeah, there's it's presented by the Governor General of Canada. There's also a set of there's like the Lieutenant Governor's Awards that are also are presented on a province by province basis too. Various awards.
So go to every province and collect an award, and then show all of your gym badges at the entrance, and you can fight the Elite Four of Canada and become the Canada Pokemon Trainer of the World. I'm Canada.
That's not
to fight in the World Pokemon Leagues.
That's not a thing.
It should be a thing.
I wonder if there's anybody who has more than one lieutenant.
Think of how many people we would get trying to collect badges. So much good would happen in the world.
I wonder if there is anybody who's like lived in a province and gotten the Lieutenant General's Award, and then moved to a different province and gotten a different one from a different. That'd be interesting. Make sure you take your elk with you on the journey.
I mean, that's just a speedrun strat.
Yeah.
You don't have to take your elk, but it's definitely going to up your speed.
The Bob and Doug duel battle is killer. Their Pokemon is probably just like a 2-4.
And don't let your rival defeat them first, because then you have to fight them too.
All right. A game just came out. Well, sort of came out. It's in I think sort of preview stuff called Atlas.
Right. Okay. For a second, I was like the studio. No. The game.
Atlas, which is being made by the Studio Wildcard, which is the company that make Ark Survival Evolved. And unfortunately, it's the launch, which happened about a little while ago, a week or so ago, was pretty bumpy, in the sense of this was less than a week ago. But anyway, it was pretty bumpy. A lot of people were, there was a lot of connections being dropped, bad glitches, people not being able to connect, or weird, clipping through stuff. It's like a pirate thing, it's
Oh, so it's
unrelated to Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves, but the one people know, or something.
Maybe, I don't know. But
New pirate game.
New pirate thing, made by the Ark Survival Evolved people. The stream, it was also being streamed by like a ton of people. I'm assuming because there was some sort of sponsorship deal that they were pushing out.
A lot of the people that I saw streaming were using hashtag sponsored or hashtag ad. So I'm assuming it's part of it might even be one of those back end Twitch sponsor things that you can get that some streamers can have access to.
So yeah, it's a shame, and they've so they put out this like post on their community page that kind of you could say we are off to a stormy start.
Was there a storm?
The initial influx of players wanting to set sail immediately was, predictably in hindsight, larger than we anticipated, and our systems got crushed until we tuned the new technical systems to handle it.
Everything's predictable in hindsight.
Yeah.
Just say in hindsight.
And it's like, maybe if you guys had, I don't know, been running a MMO for the last, say, 3 or 4 years, like, for instance, Ark Survival Evolved, you would know, the infrastructure required to do these things. Like, it bugs me about these, like, the two aspects of these kind of things that always bug me is, because this happens a lot, right? A game, especially an MMO type game, launches, and they have a lot of infrastructure issues at the beginning, and it's that thing where it's like, one, you would hope that people would know by now how to deal with this stuff. That it basically happens with every launch.
Yeah.
That horrible stuff goes wrong. But two, it always bugs me that people are like, oh, we had such an unanticipated amount of people come and play it. Which was great, but unfortunately and it's like, look, the economies of these things mean that you don't necessarily build out the capacity that you're going to have on launch day, because it might go down after that, and you've wasted a bunch of money otherwise. In the same way as like Nintendo doesn't ramp up production of Switches such that everybody can get a Switch for Christmas. Right.
Yeah, because
they run out of stock. Because if they spend all the money to do that, and then they'll if they set up so much production of Switches, then they'll run out. Then they'll have, once the huge fervor dies down, they'll be producing too much and they'll have wasted a bunch of money. And it's the same thing with computer resources to a certain extent. I mean, there's ways to bring them up and down, but essentially the objective is to spend at the least amount of money possible and make as many people as possible play the game. If you can you can just squeak by, that's perfect. Like, that's what you want.
You reached your min-max of money spent and money brought in.
Yeah.
That's, oh my goodness, marketing is just min-maxing.
Yep. And so it bugs me that, like, I wish these companies would just come clean and just be like, we had an amazing launch, we had all these people, rather than saying, like, we had so much unexpected people, like, we had about what we expected, which was too much, which was more than our current server level could take. But we're working on we're working on that and rolling out new stuff. Like, I think, which is probably accurate as to what's actually happening, is that, like, we evaluated, like, even if you could predict, even if you knew exactly how many people were gonna play the game on launch day, you still wouldn't necessarily want to roll out enough capacity for all of those people.
Not necessarily, because there's a lot of people who are just going to play the game because they're curious.
Right, and then they've gone away, and now you've got all this extra capacity just sitting there not doing anything, right? Anyway.
that you're paying money on. Yeah.
So hopefully they'll get some of their stuff figured out. Frankly, the stuff I saw of the game on from other people playing it on Twitch, I wasn't that impressed. Like, it didn't look that good, but especially like just visually, it didn't look that good. I don't know whether people enjoyed playing it when they could actually get it to work properly.
That's the hard thing, right? Like, there's some games that I know I haven't been interested in visually, but then when I've played, I'm like, no, it's fun. It's maybe not the first game I picked, but I had fun.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the go-to one is, PUBG. Not the prettiest game out there, but of course, lots of people like it. Pirate Arc, nothing more. I mean, yeah, it's the fact that they've been working on, Ark Survival Evolved for so long, you'd think that they would be a little bit more prepared for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast where there were some people who were excited about this game because they were like, they basically wanted Sea of Thieves, but they wanted more than what Sea of Thieves did, and I think they were hoping that would have that in this.
Yeah, when I was watching somebody stream this, and as they opened up the crafting or the menu system or something, and immediately the screen was just covered with all these different boxes of different types of things that you can craft and different all this stuff, and I know that a lot of people are super into that, especially the Ark Survival Evolved, the sort of crafting of the thing. But that's whenever I see that in video games now, my brain just immediately shuts down. I'm like,
it's not really a mechanic
It just when the whole screen just fills with different menus and systems and stuff, and you're like, oh dear, this is gonna be a whole thing. I'm gonna need a dictionary and a separate wiki open on the other screen to figure out how I'm gonna play this. Oh yeah, we were talking earlier about other with the Blizzard tying to your Twitch account, ways to sort of moderating people's stuff. So there, Bethesda has done did a sort of a sweep, as these companies do every once in a while, of people who were using cheats, I guess. Well, people who were using mods, because they don't want people using unauthorized mods, but I don't think there are any authorized mods right now.
Probably mods that give an advantage that.
Well, this is the problem, actually, is that at least at this point in the game, at least this point in the development cycle of the game, they basically have been not allowing anybody to do mods, even mods that are just making things prettier or changing the skins on some stuff, not actual gameplay improving things. But because it is a game that's multiplayer, they got to be more careful about that kind of stuff. And also, as we've talked about on CheckPoint before, a lot of these, basically any system that you're using to mod the game to, for instance, do all sorts of good stuff, say, make the, one thing I've seen is, make the subtitle or, the captions text larger so it's easier to read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
The system that you use to do that could also easily be used to cheat, because it has to hook into the game in a way that the game that could easily also be used to cheat,
because it could be used for the other thing.
And unless somebody is doing it manually, like a real person rather than an algorithm or something, is evaluating the mods one by one, they can't really tell what's a good use of that system, what's a bad use of that system. So they've banned a bunch of people
for using third-party software. Which would probably be in their thing somewhere that says you can't use third-party software, and a lot of people leave for it because.
But don't worry, if you've been banned.
All right, I won't.
Because there's redemption. There's a way to get back into their good graces. all you have to
Oh
do
no, what do I have to do?
is write a 500-word essay.
Okay, that's short.
You need to write a.
What do I have to write about?
You have to write it. You have to, if you're willing, you have to write an essay on why the use of third-party cheat software is detrimental to an online game community.
I don't want to go back to school. I didn't like it the first time. I certainly didn't like it when I voluntarily went into it further.
Yeah.
No. I got other video games to play.
Yeah, apparently an email saying, that you've been banned and asking for people to write this, an essay in response, has been independently verified through, Bethesda themselves haven't actually confirmed that they're sending this out, but apparently it's been independently verified by a couple of different people who have got this. Yeah. I want to write like like a Bill and Ted style essay where it's just like, that's why using third-party cheat software is really, 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 really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And why 500 words is very long. And then like make the margins.
I feel like if
move the margins
this was a true thing, and I did indeed get banned because I was
the
trying
Oxford
to use...
English Dictionary defines cheating as
Yeah, I'm sure because I bet I'd be using a mod that would be like, tell me all the things that I'm actually going to say instead of the things that turn out was not real. And I'm certain I would be writing a very condescending essay that some poor person would have to read about exactly what mod I used and how I wasn't using for cheating, and how the topic would be very different. And in any school which you write about a different topic than the one you're supposed to, you automatically get a failing grade.
The funny thing about this is that, of course, in a lot of cases, a lot of mods or community manager type people will tell you that banned people will often write more than 500 words.
Oh yes,
explaining
I've definitely
the extremely
seen those
complicated reasoning behind why they don't deserve to be banned and how it was all just a misunderstanding.
Yeah. Okay. So I agree with chat. There's no way anyone's reading these, but when I went to college, everyone had to one of the things we all had to do was we had to take a writing exam based on writing, and it was a pass-fail grade, and you had to pass as part of your credentials. It got marked by a computer, so all of these are getting marked by a computer. Absolutely, looking for specific words.
They marked the essays from a computer.
Yeah, a computer had basically probably a spreadsheet or something it was referencing to see if you were getting certain categories of things within the writing.
Wow.
Yeah, we had to write an essay, and our class was not happy about the computer being the marking thing, and the person explaining how that worked basically didn't have the knowledge, so just got very frustrated at us for asking how a computer could possibly be marking a piece of writing material.
I would be highly suspect about that. I mean,
was
the first
really
thing,
easy.
And the first thing I would do is, of course, go online and be like, what is the algorithm that this computer uses?
Oh, that would have been a good idea. I mean, I passed that. It was not a hard thing to do. It was annoying more than anything else.
Writing a computer program to mark your classmates' papers would be an interesting project.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, as ArcLight has said, as someone with a job, that's how job applications get screened. That's how a lot of job applications get screened now. They go through a computer that's looking for specific keywords,
right? And
then it goes to a human being, which is awful.
Because it's just like if you didn't have the exact keyword
you didn't have the right one, or if there's a keyword they're looking for, that will automatically like toss it, and you put that one in. Like there's all kinds of reasons why algorithms are bad. They're not bad for everything, but they are bad for certain jobs. then human beings should be doing those jobs, even if they're hard.
That's true. Having your college prepare you for how to write so that a computer will like what you're writing is, I guess, an important skill these days. Anyway, yeah, they'll probably. Actually, what would be great is if they hired got a bunch of grad students, and hired a bunch of grad students to read all these papers. That would just be
4 TAs.
Yeah. And finally, here's
your daily Fortnite news.
Yeah, it's important that we talk about Fortnite because
if we don't talk about Fortnite, it'll stop existing, and we know how much Fortnite doesn't want to stop existing.
Sometimes it seems like that the people the developer Epic and
I really feel
are like if they're. It's like, oh, we're not in the news this week. We better do something dumb.
I honestly think that's why they constantly are doing things. There is a perception sometimes that when people stop talking about a game, or you stop seeing it in the media, that no one's playing it, which isn't true. It's just you're not seeing a lot of people talk about it because there's no news to talk about.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Fortnite, however.
To be fair, we were talking about the Atlas. I have heard nothing about Sea of Thieves. I
know some people who still play
people everybody was super stoked about it for 2 weeks after it came out, and then I've heard nothing about it. I assume people are still playing it, but anyway.
A few people, at least that I know of, but it's not like it's a news thing that shows up a lot anywhere. It's like Pokemon Go. Lots of people I know play Pokemon Go, but it's not like a news thing you see every week. So I know people like to be like, oh, people still play that game? And it's like, yes, actually they do.
To be fair, the difference is that when people play Pokemon Go, they often also talk about playing Pokemon Go a lot.
A little bit?
Because it's sort of a social thing. It involves talking to others. It's like, do you have this Pokemon? Do you not have this Pokemon? There's a raid going on right now. Do you want to go?
There's a raid going on. I need 6 more people because it's a 5 level. It's a school day or work day, so everybody's busy.
All right, so, but the Fortnite news this time, this is the piece of news that we were talking about. It's a shame that we went on break for CheckPoint. What it did, because this happened right after we went on break, is that the what's it has really hit the fan on the Fortnite dances, which it's a weird thing that has sort of blown up. Is that there's all the emotes in Fortnite where you can dance and your character does different things, and a lot of them are based on real dances, dance things that people do. Mm-hmm. And in some cases, those dances are very closely associated with certain things. Like, for instance, there's the backpack kid dance.
Yeah. So.
Or there's the Alfonso Ribeiro, the Carlton dance.
There's a bunch of people. There's a list of celebrities basically stating that this is their work, this is associated with them. But I think a few of them actually didn't originate those dances so much as they popularized them themselves.
This is true.
Which is actually part of the problem.
This is an interesting question. And there's the thing with the Carlton dance, the Alfonso Ribeiro dance, where it's would that be credited to the people who did Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Or did he choreograph that himself?
I'm pretty sure they took that dance from something else for that one. It wasn't a thing people knew about. I don't think he invented that one. Backpack Kid, from what I understand, totally did not.
And from what I understand, the other aspect of this is that even the legality of whether dances can be copyrighted itself is somewhat in contention.
It's my understanding of it, which is not super great, so don't take any of my words to court for this, but it's like copyrighting music. You can't copyright a note, but you can copyright a string of notes or a song, because that is a package, and that's partially I think with a dance, You can't just necessarily do a move, because what if you
Right, so
accidentally
it's like
do that move?
how many moves does it take to actually make a
the
unique thing?
combo. It's kind of like knitting in a way. There's like a specific string of stitches within knitting actually makes it a different kind of stitch, even though it's just made up of knits and purls.
So, anyway.
That was a weird thing for me to say. Sorry.
No, it's no, but it's an interesting aspect of copyright law. It's like, at what point does is a thing a new thing as opposed to an old thing? Mm-hmm. Especially in an area where a lot of everyone acknowledges that everyone is getting inspiration from everyone else. I know you're talking about knitting, but like clothing design is a big aspect of that too.
Clothing is stolen.
Clothing
design is
it's actually an
stolen
interesting
from everybody.
Like that's an interesting aspect because it's not even really like within the clothing community. Like people don't really even bother copywriting stuff. Like you get all what basically like you get a reputation for being whatever, a guy who steals things, but you don't like there like when whatever cheap knockoffs of like a runway thing come out in a store, the person who made that thing on the runway doesn't bother suing the store because they're already moved on to like something else.
So what you see on the runway with a lot of fashion shows is like a couture thing, possibly even haute couture, depending on naming and franchising. All of that is a scam to have notoriety. That does not make them money usually. But at a lot of those fashion events, retail stores have people who work for them higher up in the chain known as buyers and whatnot. And they go to those events, they mark down styles of things to figure out what to put into their clothes.
Right.
So it's all about stealing.
It's all about taking inspiration from
doing that.
Yeah.
Like.
So anyway, and obviously I can imagine that the dance world has a lot of that aspect. You know, you see a little move that somebody does, and then you incorporate it into your own thing, whatever. But you know, you have your own style and different stuff. But so there's a lot of controversy around, you know, especially like obviously dancing, characters dancing in video games has a long history. Fortnite is mainly getting hit by this for two reasons. One, it's the most insanely popular game at the moment. They have a
lot of money too.
So they have a lot of money to burn on this kind of stuff. But the biggest thing about it is that unlike most of these games where you have like emotes and dancing and stuff, Fortnite has microtransactions specifically tied to each emote. So, you know, like if you want to get the Carlton dance, it costs whatever, $1.
Yeah.
So, and you pay that money, you get the dance. So, unlike a lot of these situations, they're from a legal perspective, you can establish a very clear money equals dance thing. Whereas normally it's like, well,
maybe
who knows?
In a loot
it's
box,
like,
maybe it was
or it's like, or maybe that like increase the popularity of the game because people like that dance. It's kind of hard to make that correlation. But when there's a direct, you pay the money, you get the dance. If you didn't have the dance, they wouldn't have made that money. Connection, that's a lot stronger. So I think that's where they're getting it. Where they're getting into.
It's more
where they're why this sort of is becoming a little more successful.
Yeah, I can prove that you made this much money off of this dance emote because you literally sell that separately. So you have data saying how much money you made off of that thing.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to sue you over that, I can tell you what kind of chunk I want, and you can tell me how much that actually is. Yeah, I could see that.
So anyway, who knows how this is one of those things that obviously, you know, anything to do with the legal system tends to take quite a while to drag through the courts and stuff. So I can imagine like next year or something, there's going to be a thing being
it might just get thrown out of court.
Yeah, it's like next year it's going to be like, oh, remember that thing? Yeah, it wasn't a thing. It's fine. Or, you know, they settled for $1 million.
Yeah, it'll just maybe we won't even hear anything about it because it'll just fizzle.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Epic could easily just be like, here's $100 million. Can you go away? And they'll be like, yes.
I don't think they will. I don't think they'll do that.
It's just for the precedent.
Well, because if they want to put in more emotes, and if they do that, then what they're suggesting is that they do need to pay for those things, even if they don't necessarily want to, which means anytime they want to add a new emote, and Fortnite kind of seems like they want to constantly be adding things.
What is interesting, actually, about this in particular is that there isn't a lot of precedent for this kind of stuff. So if something does come out of this, that might actually establish a precedent that is then applied in other places to other either dances or other in-game things. So
I mean, they have a lot of money. The people who work on making Fortnite, they're not the ones who are going to figure all this out. It's going to be the lawyers that they're paying. It really is. They're not lawyers. They have other people who are lawyers for that.
Next year is 8 minutes away from me. Ooh, somebody...
They're in the UK. Yeah, it's almost 4 o'clock.
Yeah, as we talked about, I think that's the last piece of actual news that I had. Yeah,
the end. You always want to end on Fortnite.
Exactly.
So that the people who don't want to hear about Fortnite can leave.
That was you should have left if you didn't want to hear about Fortnite. You had your chance.
Well, you know, it's like Anime Club. You put the title that a lot of people maybe don't want to watch at the end, so that they leave early. And then they don't care.
What was that title?
Oh,
usually.
I don't know. We called it the Curse Slut because it was usually not great, and then the show ended up being even worse than we expected. I don't remember anything offhand.
I like SNL always has the one of their last sketches. They have kind of a dumping ground for. They'll have like sketches and they're always either terrible or amazing. Because they're the sketches that are like weird and they don't know whether they'll work or not.
Yeah.
And so often they're terrible, but some of the best sketches are dumped in that last section because it turns out to be totally amazing. But nobody could really visualize how it was going to work. A 10-to-1 sketch. Yeah.
It's just a good place to dump a thing if you can, depending on stuff. Because who knows, it might be good.
But anyway, so yeah, that's the last bit of news, and that's the last stream for today. By the way,
the first and the last stream.
No Dice Friends tonight. Dice Friends will be starting up again next week
on the Magic channel, which we're hosting.
No, on the D&D channel. On the D&D channel.
Your Magic stuff kind of all same to me. So D&D channel. Don't listen to that.
And we'll be hosting that, yes.
We'll probably be hosting that. I think we've hosted all of the ones that we've done over on the D&D. But we will get the finished stuff up on our YouTube.
Yep. And so, yeah, this is the last stream of 2018.
Right, it's because it's a Ravnica game. That's why I keep thinking it's going to be on the Magic channel when it's not.
It's complicated. It's a WotC thing, but it's not Magic. It's actually D&D, except it's D&D doing Magic.
Yeah.
But it's not magic.
Right.
Although there is magic in it. And it's about magic. And it is taking place in the magic universe. It's not magic.
Right. Some of those words where you said magic meant cool magic that I enjoy, and then some of those words where you said magic, you meant card game magic that I don't enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know which ones were which.
That was my intention.
Yes, you did a very good job. Intention approved. Worked.
So, yeah, Happy New Year to everybody.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Or Happy New Year that has already passed or will come soon.
What's going to be the first stream of the year tomorrow?
It's going to be me playing Return of the Obra Dinn.
Oh, good start to the year.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about that game.
As have I. It's it's New Day Tuesday, but because it's January 1st, there's nothing new. So I decided to play a game that I missed that is relatively new.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm good for any explanation as to why a game is on New Day Tuesday, because sometimes we need to stretch that definition.
Yeah. I'm yeah, and I'm a big my initial. I talked about this on when I did the Paul Quest series, but my early video game memories were all. I had a Mac Plus when I was a kid, that black and white style. Yeah. So which is what the sort of styling that Return of the Obra Dinn is using. So it's super nostalgic for me. So I'm stoked about that. And
I imagine it'll be a good stream.
I hope so. I think Adam might be joining me as well, depending on whether he is available. So that could be super fun. What else we got going on here? Wait, I have to go to the other.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. New Day Tuesday. Turn the Oberdin. And then on Tuesday night, we've got Cam is doing the Stellaris, the first day of 2019. Rather than Talking Sim, I think Corey is not going to be available. So,
I mean, bonus streams are fine. They to fill in slots. Also, Stellaris and Cam, game he loves. So that's
seems like a good combo.
There's been for VODs the Stellaris games that they've done for Talking Sim and as bonus streams, people really have enjoyed. I've seen like some really positive comments on it, so
nice.
I'm glad that Cam gets to play a game that he likes and that people enjoy it.
And then we've got LRMTG on the Magic Channel.
Haha, the thing that is on the Magic Channel.
That's the thing that is on the Magic Channel. That's on Wednesday. So by Wednesday we're basically back to our regular schedule. So we got Magic on the Magic Channel, and then we got Watch and Play.
First Watch and Play of the year.
Yep, we got Pandemic Legacy on AFK. We missed one of our Pandemic Legacy months because people were. I think Adam was sick.
Yeah,
and
he was
so,
sick at the last minute.
And so we had to substitute something else in there. So
they're getting close to the end of that.
Well, we're.
The way they keep playing, they're getting close to the end of that.
Something is going to happen this week. This time, things have not been going great for humanity as a whole.
Okay, yeah.
Which, to be fair, to our intrepid pandemic curers, every time they succeed, the government cuts their funding. So,
yeah.
What do you expect, really?
That's kind of reality there for you.
Yeah. And then on Thursday, we got Games of Chance.
Ooh, what topic?
Which we realized earlier today that we did not have a topic, that we hadn't come up with a topic, but we have one now.
Okay, good.
And we tweeted about it earlier today, and you can check that out at lrr.cc/GOC. But the topic is early access games. Because I think that's sort of like the new year.
So you want stuff that's still in early access, though?
Still
not games that came out in early access and are not there anymore.
Yeah, but games that are currently in early access. Atlas, I guess, probably would qualify for that. I saw somebody cheekily put Fallout 76 on there.
Yeah, you're gonna get some of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why you guys cull that list down to 6 options for that dice roll, right?
Yeah.
And it's convenient for a dice roll.
Well, yes. If only there were dice that had more than 6 sides.
No such dice exists. You can get ones with 4, but never higher than 6.
Yeah, 6 is the maximum number of sides that a dice can have.
You can't even add more sides to an object than 6.
No.
What a weird world we live in.
And then on Thursday afternoon, we got LRMTG on this channel, not on the Magic Channel. This is LRMTG OG style. And we got Adam's Game House on Thursday afternoon, where he's going to be playing something. I don't know. It'll probably either be Ashen.
Ashen is likely, but
or Darkest Dungeon.
Probably Darkest Dungeon, because
it largely depends on how fed up he is with Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
His last stream he was doing a Torchless Blood Moon run, and I don't know how that went.
I hung out on the stream actually with him for a bit, and did not go great. It's kind of, to be fair, it's a little bit what you would expect if you bring like a jester and I forget what the other guy he had with him. It was like a jester and a academic into a dungeon with no torches, and they just kind of got munched by bad guys, which is kind of what you expect.
Yeah, I hear the RNG on that's really hard, especially for what he's trying to do.
It's tough.
I want him to make it because I know he's tried so many times that I'm just like, eventually, I do want to see him succeed.
It's
and win.
but it's I was saying it like it's hard because like something like Cuphead, he played for a while, but that's like it's you, right? Like you're getting better at the game. Yeah. Or like Hollow Knight or whatever.
You can redo levels and
like
sections
and it's like you're physically getting better. Where it's like there's a certain point with Darkest Dungeon where it doesn't matter how good you are at the game, you might just roll bad.
Yep.
And in fact, not only it's not just you roll bad; it's that you might not roll perfectly. Which at the point that he's playing, I think he basically has to like luck out on the RNG.
Fire Emblem on that really hard mode, lunatic. That's what they call that hard mode, with permadeath on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen people try to do that.
And they've got Now Kiss on Friday, where Kathleen and Jacob are going to be playing something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if she.
I think they got fed up with the game they were playing.
Well, no. Kathleen finished Oz Mafia.
Right, Oz Mafia.
As far as I know, she did get fed up with it.
Yeah.
Yes, I heard many definitive statements that she said about that game, but they should be on something new.
Mm-hmm.
I believe she did finish it though.
We got the Crapshoot, and then on Friday Night Paper Fight, we're going to be doing some Commander. Which is nice. We haven't done Commander in a while, so
doing up your own decks or
I think
pre-cons or what?
It's going to be original decks.
Okay.
I think Ben's going to be making some. I don't know if he's going to be making all of them, but he's going to be making some of them, and so it should be a fun time. I don't think we have any particular theme for this Commander other than Commander.
Just want to play Commander.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's a paper Magic stream. If you guys don't want to do a theme one night and you want to just play.
It'll still
Why
run.
not?
I mean, it might run overtime. I don't know.
I mean, we don't have anything pertinent on Saturday to do, so of course it won't, because you guys only run those long games when we actually have to be up early and do live shows, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
So anyway, that's the stream for the ChillPoint on. Geez, we missed the time again.
We had a few because
I gotta. Okay, that's what I'm doing after I go offline is figure out what the heck's going on
with the sound.
The sound.
I mean, there's no one streaming after this, so you'll have free reign to.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Disappointing. All right. Actually, we could just do the thing.
Yeah.
Do.
Let's be fancy about it. We can watch the scrolly thing.
Yay.
I like your little scroll bar that you added.
I do too.
It's great.
I mean, especially when we're doing very long when we're doing very long subtrains. The progress bar is vitally important.
But these will be without messages now. Let me tell you, a bunch of these don't have messages, and the ones that do basically say Happy New Year.
They do. Midtop, thank you very much for that 12-month resub.
Woo! Maladia, 2 months, welcome back.
Sir Octopus for 27 months.
I know sometimes the names are hard to read. I was concerned for a second, but I forgot about the underscore. Oricus for 10 months, welcome back.
Result.
Ooh, new subscriber.
It's a new subscriber. Result DK. Welcome.
Arclight Dynamo, 13 months, already into that new 2019 year for us.
Dr. Clayton, PhD.
Ooh.
Or Dr. Clayton Fd.
James S. Key. James SK 902 for that 13 months. Welcome back.
Jeremy Knoll for 18 months. Thank you very much.
TC Burner 18 months.
Luca 0483, unless that's supposed to be ABE.
Always be subbing. I mean, you don't have to. That didn't work out when I tried to say it. Dan9299 for 60 months. Welcome back.
Azure Shock for 10 months. Thank you very much.
Idol Messiah for 22 months. Almost hitting that 2-year mark.
And thank you for the 200 bits, Maricat. The bits. The bits.
The bits.
Awesome. Thank
Yay.
you. Thank you so much. Yeah, if you see if there's
a few, but like most of them just say Happy New Year.
Yes. And
also,
so
we do read these messages off screen.
We do. And many of them are very touching.
It's just like with some of the stuff we do in studio see, unfortunately, so many of you sub. It still takes us, what was it? It was like 90 minutes during that Boxing Day stream. There were so many subs to go through.
Mm-hmm.
That's
and I mean, I know we talked about it at the time, and I've streamed since, but yeah, thank you.
Any upcoming YouTube content?
The sub train and the response from all you, the wonderful viewers, for the subscribers and bits and everything on that stream was pretty amazing. So thank you all so much. Especially, what's even more amazing is that I was streaming the next day right afterwards with James, and more people were so, like, there were still people who there were still some people who watched the show who hadn't subscribed, and so we had just as many subscribers as normal on the very next day. That was pretty amazing.
I know a thing we should do, because we constantly are supposed to be doing this for a bit now. You should go, if you are a Patreon subscriber, if you support us on Patreon, please update your address, especially if you are at that $10 tier, because we're going to be doing the mail out, and Featherweight has done a cool piece of artwork that I'm excited to see finished, and we want to make sure that most of those actually show up, as opposed to them coming back and then us having to figure out those addresses.
That makes us very sad.
So please update your addresses. Also, because it's the end of the month and the beginning of the new year, it's always a good idea on any Patreon thing you're doing, check that your billing information is also up to date. That's
true. Yeah, historically Patreon has been a little bit sketchy about sometimes the billing doesn't quite go through or whatever.
It's just a good thing to check. You're going to update your if you're going to check your address update, check your billing. I do that on a number of services that I use, just because occasionally I forget that if my credit card gets updated, to go and do it to everything.
And Brain Bosch is a 22-month subscriber. Thank you very much. Says, I didn't realize it expired. Luckily, you got it in time.
I think Twitch changed that so that it doesn't take out months anymore, or they were going to.
They talked about doing that.
Or something.
But I don't know if it actually has happened yet.
I don't know if it's happened. But I knew that was the thing they had discussed.
Yeah. That would make me happy. But anyway, thanks everybody for watching, and I will see you tomorrow, in fact. But, and if you're not around tomorrow, we will see you later.
Bye.
Bye.